name's Paul Wilkinson, and I've made the very, very arduous and long journey of about 10 yards to visit my friend and neighbour, Matt Netherwood. Thanks for joining me, Matt.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
And without further ado, so I've known Matt probably for over 10 years or something. And the last few years has always been coming over to his workshop and seeing what he's making. And being intrigued about what you're making. So, without further ado, I think it'd be good to introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
And tell us, maybe we could go in here, start with discussing this a little bit, which Matt made.
Yes.
This gets me every time.
Yes. This is the second one of this particular type that I've done. Right. It is a replica of Brian May's homemade red special. He made of his father Harold back in mid-60s, finished I think in about 1964.
Right, okay.
So, always been a fan of Queen since...
Since you were a boy? Or?
Early teen years.
Something
like that, yeah. Thanks to a guy family friend in Scarborough who was mad on them, got my brother interested in them, which got me interested in them.
Right, okay,
so
right.
It's been, a long journey.
Is it the first album for you then that you kind of got into, or...?
For probably greatest hits, like a lot of people. And then work backwards from there to some of the early stuff.
Right.
And then, been a fan ever since. I think the first Queen single I bought was One Vision.
Right, yeah.
So that dates about 1986.
Right.
Sorry, 1985, I think, somewhere around there.
Right, so it was later for me when I got into Queen then. I was a bit late to it, yeah. Right, wow, okay. So you'd always seen this guitar, or?
Yeah, it's one of those things. You hear the stories initially of Brian built the guitar. It's a one-off, and then you start looking more into it and figuring out how they actually made it. I should go over very quickly something. The neck of the original was made from an old mahogany fireplace. The body is blockboard, so old type of plywood really, with a solid oak bit in the middle to take the weight and the stresses.
Okay, yeah.
That on the original was from an old bicycle saddlebag with a turned piece of knitting needle on the end, which I've tried to replicate here with. I found the greenest, scuzziest looking knitting needles that I could find on eBay.
Brilliant.
And it sort of come out around about the right sort of colour. And they made it, and it's been using it ever since.
It's been using it ever since.
Yeah.
So how can you tell us more of anybody who knows Brian? Tried this and think it's pretty close to Brian's original? Is there anything you can?
A few guys. I go to the Red Special meetup, which is every October down in place in Reading. Where there's a room. We had about 50 odd people there this year.
Right, okay.
A village hall full of aficionados of the Red Special. Some have built their own, some have bought the commercial copies and things.
Right.
There's a few guys there that have played it, and they're really liking it.
Brilliant.
So, this year, Pete Malandrone, who is Brian May's guitar tech for about the last 30 years or so, he came as well.
Brilliant.
Had a look at it, liked it. I'm a little bit out on the neck.
Right.
Because the very first version, he was also there in 2018 when I did the first version.
Right, okay.
And the neck on that one was really thick. If anybody who doesn't know it, the neck on Brian's original is a lot thicker than a normal, say, a Strat or something.
Oh, right, okay.
Right. But mine was a bit over thick.
Right, okay.
I'm a lot closer with this one.
Yeah.
It's not quite there,
right.
But it's a lot closer.
Does that mean you're going to have another go?
Probably.
Probably,
yeah.
right, okay.
Thankfully, I can do it because it's just bolted in rather than glued in.
Course,
I can actually make a new neck and just swap the new neck in.
Right, well.
Although there's also this little thing lurking at the back, which is, again, a relic replica of the Deacy Amp.
Right, okay.
Which was an old speaker cabinet with John Deacon, the bass player, found a circuit board in a skip. I thought, that looks interesting. So he put it inside a speaker. So that's the circuit board. Many years of investigation found out that the circuit board itself comes from a particular type of transistor radio from the 1950s.
Okay.
Brian used it in a rehearsal, put your treble booster in front of it, and thought,
Right.
that's the sound for me, and has basically
Right.
used it ever since.
Right.
So when you're hearing songs with sort of like the orchestral or the jazzy things in it, good examples are things like the jazz band bit at the end of a song called Good Company on Night of the Opera.
Yeah.
All that is done multi-tracked on a Deacy Amp.
On a Deacy Amp.
At the meetup this year, Pete was having a look around the stuff, and he came and said, "That's really close." He said, "When I first came in and glanced over, I wondered, who's brought the Deacy, because it's not me."
Ah, brilliant! How wonderful.
So, yeah.
And so do you try and put all the scratches and things and try and...
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a case of as many evenings of internet searching as you can to find the best quality photos from all angles that you can find, and then try and replicate all the dints and the scratches and the little tears in the
Wonderful, Matt.
the
Wonderful.
grill cloth and things like that.
So coming back to the guitar, so then you kind of ended up making pickups.
Yes, the Trisonics that are in it, the Burns Trisonics, Brian bought a set of 3 from a music shop in London for, I think, with 3 guineas each.
Right, okay.
To replace some homemade pickups that he actually originally had in it, but they didn't quite like the sound. They were given for varying reasons. Originally I bought a set of commercial modern Trisonics, but they are based as they were in the 1960s as a standard set of Trisonic pickups.
Right.
Now, Brian and his father Harold have modified theirs since they bought them for varying reasons. The neck pickup doesn't have a bass on it anymore.
Right,
With the Trisonics, they've got a steel bass and then everything and the cover on top. That was filled with araldite.
Right, okay.
Now that actually affects the inductance of it and makes it a lot brighter.
Right, alright, okay, yeah.
So when you're hearing things like the first solo in Bohemian Rhapsody,
which everybody knows.
That is the middle pickup and the neck pickup, but out of phase. So there's quite a lot of signal cancellation going on, so you just get all your harmonics and everything coming out from the actual sound. And because of the difference in the inductance in them, those harmonics are really quite shrill.
Right, okay.
Now, if that had had a steel bass on it, you wouldn't get that.
Right, okay.
So there's certain little things that have been done to the pickups by them over the years that just give that unique sound.
Right, okay.
So when I fitted the commercial copy of them, it was nice. It sounded like a good guitar, but it wasn't getting those sounds.
Right.
So then I thought, well, a pickup is a coil of wire in a magnet, in a case. It surely can't be that difficult.
Right, okay.
So there was my next challenge, to try and make myself a set of Brian May spec Trisonics.
Right, okay.
Which I did after a lot of, I think I must have done 3 dozen coils, test coils, to try and get the values close to where I wanted them to be.
Right.
So I did them, I fitted them. A couple of people tried it at the 2018 meetup.
Right, okay.
Liked the sound of it, and then I started getting requests of, well, can you make me a set?
Right.
And somebody else would ring, can you make me a set?
Right,
And it's just snowballed from there, really. And this is a set that I'm doing at the moment for a gent. He's got his own red special. The condition is based on as it was in the 1970s. So these are a set of pickups that I've done for him based on the wear that would have been on Brian's original guitar in the 1970s. So that now really is my mainstay of what I'm doing.
What are you doing?
Is
amazing.
Sets of Brian May style, Trisonic style pickups.
That's amazing. It's unbelievable. And so is that kind of what you're doing now, mostly sort of keeping you busy?
It's most of the pickups. Yeah, I've got a waiting list that is hopefully going to be opening up again in the next few weeks. I had to close it because it was just a hobby.
Yeah.
I just simply didn't have the time to do it and work.
Oh, right. And we'll make sure to put all the links for Matt's YouTube and website and things below this video. Yeah. So you're opening to open that up again?
Hopefully to opening up either later this month, perhaps maybe just into the new year.
Right,
So
okay.
that's a little tease there, but hopefully, get that open back up and they become available again.
Wow. And so let's move on. So we talked a little bit about this. Now, haven't you ended up making something like this, or you have to remind me, for a few other famous guitarists?
Because I did replicas of the board that's inside it. We did from an old transistor radio. And I made those for a few people. They've made their own Deacy style amp. But then I got an email from a chap in America saying, I see you made these boards. Could you do one for me for an amp I want to make for a friend? So, yeah, not a problem. So arranged everything, built it. It turns out, as a result of conversations, that the amp it was going to a certain Mr. Steve Vai.
Steve Vai, there we go.
Which, came as a bit of a shock.
Yeah, I bet it did.
So he has it, he loves it. And as a result of that, there's...
We're not finished.
No, there is, as quite a lot of followers on YouTube probably have heard and probably already subscribed to Rick Beato.
Yeah.
Had
great
an interview.
YouTube channel, theory channel and music channel. Great stuff.
Probably one of the only music theory channels that I like listening to.
Yeah.
He just has this
Great
way
stuff,
of doing things.
Such a broad range of stuff he has on it. It's
Definitely.
fabulous stuff.
And he had an interview with Brian, and it came up in conversation that apparently Steve Vai emailed Brian and said, "There's a guy made a Deacy style amp." Brian looked at it and went, "That looks nice. Do you think you could make me one as well?" So another email came from Doug over in America. So I made a second board to go in one for Brian. And it turns out as well that there was a third one. So a total of 3 boards, with the third one going to Joe Satriani.
Absolutely wonderful. And there you go.
Yes.
From something that started sort of locked down, and obviously you're so amazing and so talented and so creative. It's just wonderful. And before we finish, let's talk a little bit about coasters. Something a bit different, but
yes, obviously pickups and things like that are fairly niche market. So looking at things that I could also do as well. Yeah, we're looking at doing some slate coasters. Done a few different style ones already. Did some as little giveaways at the Red Special meetup.
right.
Now, while we were there, I gave 2 to Pete Malandron. One for himself and one to see if he could pass on to Brian.
Brian, right, okay.
And he has received it.
And this, which is very good, isn't it? This.
So that's one of our friends, Matt Netherwood from Yonderbosk, who is capable of making many things.
It's amazing.
So including pickups and amplifiers and doing things like that.
It's great. It says friends will be friends on it, but I thought it should say it's slate.
Yeah.
Okay. I can make another one.
Very good. Yeah. Well, I guarantee you, as soon as the episode comes out, he'll make you one with it slate written.
And I think he rather likes it.
I think he might do.
So as result of that, just expanding into doing different ones. The wife, Jackie, she has a holistic therapist self-employment business. So she was also looking for something alongside the actual therapies that she does to see if she could do any gifts or things like that. So been doing a variety of designs of mandalas and wicker calendars and things like that for coasters. Looking at doing potential things like big slate crystal grids, things like that.
I mean, they have to be good because they're endorsed by Brian May, aren't they?
Exactly.
Well, thanks for sharing all this with us, Matt. It's been fabulous.
Pleasure.
It's been great. Thanks very much.